Welcome to the 12th Annual Geneva Summit for Human Rights and Democracy. My name is Hillel Neuer. I'm the Executive Director of United Nations Watch. On behalf of our 25 NGO co-sponsors, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to this important gathering of human rights dissidents, human rights defenders, families of political prisoners, and advocates for human rights and freedom around the world. We meet on an important occasion. As Ambassador Alfred Moses will mention a little bit today and at greater length tomorrow, we now begin the 75th anniversary of the United Nations Charter, when, after World War II, nations met and assembled to envision a world, quote, in larger freedom, to reaffirm faith and fundamental human rights. And we also meet on the occasion, only days before, 7 days before, foreign ministers from around the globe will gather in this building to open the 2020 session of the United Nations Human Rights Council. We also have from Pakistan, now living in Canada, Peter Bhatti. Pakistan is a member of the Human Rights Council. There's never been one resolution, one urgent session, one commission of inquiry on Pakistan. And we have Peter Bhatti. His brother, Shahbaz Bhatti, was the minister in charge of protecting minorities. He dared to speak out for people like Asia Bibi, Christian mother of 5, convicted for blasphemy, was on death row for years. And Shahbaz Bhatti spoke out. He was in Canada. Professor Kotler was telling me moments ago about how people warned him, if you go back to Pakistan, there were threats against you, and we'll see a video tomorrow. He knew about the threats against his life, but he said, I must go back to my people, I must go back to my country and speak out, and he paid for it with his life, and his brother is here. We'll hear about the situation of minorities there in Pakistan.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melissa Matani. I'm a senior producer and reporter with CNN, and it's a real honor to be here today, to be surrounded by so many brave and courageous individuals who are really striving to stand up to oppression and make the world a fairer and better place. I'm delighted to be moderating a panel with 4 excellent speakers from Iran, China, Russia, and Pakistan. My speakers include Peter Bhatti in the middle, the brother of Shahbaz Bhatti, the Pakistani minister, assassinated for defending religious minorities. But before I invite Peter up to the stage, I'd like us to just watch a short video about his brother, Shahbaz Bhatti.
Minister Bhatti, we forgot one question in the interview. Your life is threatened. By whom? And what sort of threats are you receiving?
The forces of violence, militant band organization, the Taliban and pro-Al-Qaeda, they want to impose their radical philosophy in Pakistan. And whoever stand against their radical philosophy, they threaten them. When I'm leading this campaign against the Sharia laws, for the abolishment of blasphemy law, and speaking for the oppressed and marginalized, persecuted Christian and other minority, these Taliban threaten me. But I want to share that I believe in Jesus Christ, who has given his own life for us. I know what is the meaning of cross, and I'm following of the cross. And I'm ready to die for a cause. I'm living for my community and suffering people, and I will die to defend their rights. So these threats and these warnings cannot change my opinion and principles. I will prefer to die for my principle and for the justice of my community, rather to compromise against these threats.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me, a small player in the global efforts to end religious persecution. Pakistan was created in 1947 as a progressive and democratic state. Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, and other religious minorities played a vital role in the establishment of Pakistan and greatly contributed to its development and growth. Unfortunately, shortly after Pakistan achieved independence, extremists took control over the country's political and justice system and introduced discriminatory laws into the Constitution of Pakistan in the name of religion. These laws created a vacuum in which democracy and rule of law were replaced by radical ideologies. Today, these laws are being widely misused and abused. They have become a major tool in oppressing and marginalizing religious minorities community who make roughly 5% of Pakistan's total population. Most allegations in criminal cases of blasphemy are based on personal and economic disputes or religious and social differences. Those accused of blasphemy face the threat of being killed even before the case is registered. Who are imprisoned face the death penalty. Asia Bibi, Christian mother of 5, was sentenced to death in 2009 after dispute with her Muslim co-worker led to allegation that she had insulted religion by drinking in the same cup which her co-worker drank from. Despite lack of evidence, Asia Bibi was dragged and attacked by mobs, taken into custody, and spent the next 9 years on the death row in Pakistan prison. She was finally acquitted of these false charges in 2018. We are thankful to the Pakistani and Canadian governments who assisted with her release and settlement in Canada. Also in 2009, false accusation of blasphemy on Christian man in the city of Gojra led to riots in which thousands gathered and set a fire to all Christian houses, resulting in 7 members of one family being burnt alive in their home. Another horrific case was that Shama and Shahzad Masih, a poor young Christian couple who, while seeking release from bonded labor, were accused of blasphemy and burned alive in their brick lane. Shama was pregnant with her 4th child. The couple left behind 3 young children. Forced conversion are also a major challenge facing Pakistan's religious minorities. According to the Aurat Foundation, about 1,000 non-Muslim girls are forcibly converted to Islam every year. These women and girls are kidnapped, raped, forcibly converted to Islam, and married to Muslim men. They are typically 12 to 18 years old. My brother Shabaz Bhatti dedicated his entire life to raising awareness about the plight of persecuted religious minorities. He was the only person who publicly challenged Pakistan's discriminatory laws, despite facing threat of his life. He believed in and fought for the vision upon the Pakistan was founded: democracy, equality, and rule of law for all citizens. In 2009, Shahbaz was appointed as Pakistan's first ever Minister for Minorities Affairs and was the only Christian cabinet minister in Pakistan's history. My brother Shahbaz led a national and international campaign to amend Pakistan's discriminatory laws. He brought the world's attention to deep injustices and severe oppression that Pakistan's religious minorities face daily. But this did not come without a cost. On March 2nd, 2011, Shahbaz was assassinated, paying an ultimate price. His killer left a message that anyone who speaks against Pakistan's law will suffer the same fate. He has led many people to ask, Who will speak up now? My answer was to create an International Christian Voice, a Canadian non-profit organization, to raise the awareness about the persecution of religious minorities. It is the voice of those who are oppressed and victimized due to their faith, especially in Pakistan. Today, ICV assists thousands of Pakistanis who have fled their homes and seeking refuge in neighboring countries such as Thailand, Malaysia, and Sri Lanka. When their temporary visa expires, asylum seekers are arrested and put into horrible prison-like detention centers. Some languish in these detention centers for years. Many families are separated, and the sick and dying receive no medical treatment. International Christian Voice privately sponsors such refugees to Canada and assists with their settlement and integration by providing them necessities and social support services. We work with like-minded organizations for support these helpless asylum seekers to provide them a new life of freedom and peace. In the spirit of my brother's legacy and on heels of the upcoming UN Human Rights Council session, the international community must together with Pakistan to work and open the educational and vocational schools in religious minority communities, eliminate prejudice material from public school syllabus and ban hate speeches, promote interfaith harmony to change mindset of those who have been brainwashed by radical ideologies, amend legislation and policy to stop forced conversions and discriminatory laws, assist with the resettlement of Pakistani asylum seekers and refugees, identify and partner with the progressive Pakistani human rights organizations who stand for equal rights and justice. My brother was one of very few individuals throughout the history who had the courage to call out abuses of fundamental freedom and human rights in Pakistan. He was true champion of democracy and rule of law, and he firmly believed that through a united stance against injustices, our world could be a better place. He understood that freedom and peace come from struggle and sacrifice. He ultimately sacrificed his life to bring awareness to severe challenges being faced by Pakistan's minority communities. Although he is no longer with us today, he has left behind an example for all peace-seeking people to follow. To be bold, to be principled, and to be determined in our pursuit for justice and equality for all. May we all follow his legacy and courageously take on the challenge to stand against abuses of human rights, to be voice for the voiceless, and to ensure that every citizen of every nation in this world is free from violence and oppression. Thank you.